Okay, so let's talk about the Scream franchise, my ranking, and where do I put all of them. So now that we've seen number 6, we can definitely think that this is going to be the best way to do the ranking. So I'll go from bottom to top, and before we get any further into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. I mean 30,000, but we have 3,000 to go. So let's talk about this. Minor spoilers here and there. I'm not sure if I will say spoilers, but just in case if you haven't seen all of them, there might be spoilers here. So number 6, and I'm not saying this is because it's the worst movie ever, but if I'm gonna rank them, I'm definitely gonna put Scream 3. It's just something about the scenario and just how the characters were and everything. It just felt a little bit too boring in my opinion, and number 3 has always been at the bottom of my list. I have to revisit it. I haven't revisited it in a couple of years, but just from what I've seen it multiple times throughout the years. It just isn't my favorite one, and it hasn't become my favorite one, so I don't think another rewatch is gonna do that, but there's gonna be number 3 at dead last. Now, at the next one is going to be Scream 5 or Scream 2022. Now, I did enjoy this one when it first came out, but the more I got a chance to see it again and just really think about it, I thought it was a very good way to reintroduce the franchise back after many years after Scream 4. But at the end of the day, I just felt it didn't feel different enough from the other movies where it felt like its own thing. And it was kind of like The Force Awakens. Like when The Force Awakens came out, instantly loved it and everything. But the more I thought about it and everything, it just felt too much of a rehash of the original. And I understand why they have to do that, because they have to bring everybody back and really get you feeling that Scream mood. But after watching it and think about its own film, it didn't really stand alone as well as I would have loved it to. So that's why I am going to put that one at number 5. At number 4 on my list is going to be blasphemous for a lot of people. This is where my list gets a little controversial, I think. We are going to put Scream 2. Yes, at the time and everything, when Scream 4 came out, I thought it was great. But then as we saw with Scream 4 come out and then Scream 5 and 6, it started to sort of dwindle and my list started to shake up a little bit, and that's why I put it at that level right there, because I think what comes after that movie, which was Scream 3, made it seem a little bit that much better. But once we started to get Scream 4 and then Scream 6, it definitely started to feel like, hey, Scream 2 is good, but these films are a little bit better in my opinion, and I'm gonna place them as that. So that is why Scream 2 is at number 4. And number 3 on my list is going to be Scream 4. Yeah, I think Scream 4 is definitely one of those movies that the more I watch it and everything, I just think it felt so fresh. It was action. It was very fast paced. It was in your face. I think the twists and turns that come with it are also great. The way it played out as well. And it just felt like I was watching something that felt just like the first Scream. And that's something that I really did enjoy, that it felt like that, but at the end of the day, it has its own thing. And this movie could honestly stand alone as well. That's what I really liked about it, because you didn't have to watch any of the other Scream movies to get what was going on in this. And the story by itself is very strong. The killer motives and everything are also very different from what we see in the other movies, and I really did enjoy that as well. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the performances as well. Joe Roberts is definitely one of my favorite characters in all of the franchise, and I think that this character that develops as we see from the beginning to the end is one of those characters that is just legendary in the franchise. So that is why Scream 4 is at number 3. At number 2, I have Scream 6, and yes, I know you're gonna say this is just hype because you just watched it, you love it just because it's the freshest thing you saw and all of that. No. That is not the case here. And I can tell you why this one is at number 2. That first 10 minutes opening shot and everything of Scream 6, where we just see Jason take off his mask and we reveal the first ghost face in those 10 minutes. Beautiful. Nothing I've seen in other Scream movies be done like that. Your expectations are immediately thrown out of there. Like, you don't know what's going to happen next. I thought the kills were a lot more brutal. This is a ghost face that's doing things for a little bit of a different reason than we have seen in a couple of years, because we've seen these motives before and everything in the franchise, but it had been a while, right? The third act, I think all Scream movies' third acts are okay. Of course, my number 1 I think is still the best third act out of them all. But I do think this third act really started to go off the rails at a point. But then the movie, right before it finishes, sort of like firmly grasps you and keeps you on the edge of your seat again, because you're like falling. Because I will say the third act in this movie, but just like in a lot of the other Scream movies, is probably its weakest part. But I think that a certain point in this third act, when we see Sam don the Ghostface like costume and everything, really makes it a little bit different. And I know we've seen Sydney do that as well, but the way that it's also with Sam's psyche being affected and those factors being layered here, it really adds a different dimension than when we just see Sydney don on the Ghostface costume. So that's why I really enjoyed Scream 6, and I thought that it was definitely a movie where we saw a lot more of this Ghostface just being like different, like so much. Like I could go on and on about it, but let's get to my number one, which is the first Scream. Of course, I think that this is just done perfectly. There doesn't have to be another movie after this one. Honestly, it's just a perfect movie that didn't need sequels, didn't need none of that. It would have just been fun as a standalone. So much this movie changed for the horror genre, and so much for just movies in general. It spawned so much like different takes and everything that we've seen throughout in different movies. Also the parodies and everything that came after. It is such a cultural phenomenon, honestly, and I think that the story in itself is just great from beginning to end, and just that third act is the strongest one here. The two killers, Stu Macher, Billy Loomis, definitely the top killers of them all, and I'm definitely so grateful for this franchise for really keeping us on our toes after all of these years still, and having us coming back for more. So overall, that is my ranking of the Scream franchise. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Nobody has a wrong, nobody has a right one, but that's just mine. I love to know what yours is in the comments down below. But anyways, as always, that is going to do it for me. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We are on the road to 30,000 subscribers, less than 3,000 to go, so super excited to get to that. Check out our other videos we have already done. At the moment you're watching this, I'm still probably at South by Southwest, so I will definitely be updating throughout on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and on here as well. So go check that out if you haven't already, in the description down below. And as always, that is going to do it for me. Like I said, let me know your Scream franchise ranking. Which one's your favorite? Which one's your least favorite? In the comments down below. And as always, that is going to do it for me. Check out our ending explained. Check out our Ghostface video we did for Scream 6. And I'll see you next time. Stay safe. Stay positive.